Hello, scumbags. Hi, Brock.
Hello, Newman.
Hey. How's the polar vortex treating you over there?
It's fine. I was at a burrito place, and they said they didn't have green onions because of the polar vortex, and I'm like, "You've taken
What?
so much. They've taken so much."
They don't have green onions because of polar vortex?
Yeah, because I was like, "And I'll have green onions," and I'm looking around, and I'm like, "Oh, you had green onions at one point, right?" So yeah. Outside of that, same old, same old.
Nice. You're working a lot lately as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always good with you working and me working. That means we are ready to do this podcast. Finally, we found time in our busy schedules to do the podcast. Amidst, I guess it's not really a snowstorm anymore. I guess that was more yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's as of this recording. When you guys finally watch it, after I'm able to upload it, it'll probably be a week from now. So
It'll be summertime.
it'll be summertime. So this will all be a moot point. I'm wearing a sweater right now. You can't see me, Brock, but I'm wearing a sweater. Yeah. Underneath it is a full Brock t-shirt. But I have electric heating, so it costs a lot of money to heat my house. So I'm like, screw it. I'm not wearing a t-shirt. I'm wearing the sweater. It's too cold in here. I have the heat. This room it's like a spare room that I'm in right now, and I just keep the temperature incredibly low because no one's until somebody stays in it. Which your roommate Daryl, I think, will be staying in it this coming weekend.
That's what I heard.
So yeah, he invited himself up. You're welcome to come if you want, but you probably don't because you have a life outside of it.
I can't even think of what I'm doing this week.
Well, if you want to come up, he's leaving Saturday morning. We're getting fresh donuts and chocolate.
What, from Mississauga?
What?
You're
Here.
gonna have donuts from local Hastings.
Yes, the good.
Gotcha.
You had the donuts there. I'm just gonna. I ordered them for my anniversary last week. I said they were for Aaron, but I think I ate them all before I even got home. I walked in and like it was empty. I think because it was so cold, and they had my order waiting for me, and I was just like, "Well, I can get any donut I want right now." So I had one in the road, one for the road. I was like, "Well, I'll go for a walk later." I didn't go for the walk. Anyway, let's talk about Star Wars. So I don't know if you know this, but I've been doing a lot of videos for the Patreon people lately.
Okay.
And mostly it's just me throwing you under the bus, saying that you don't care about them, and you're going under. No. But for the Patreons, if you guys haven't seen the Patreon, I just because you're working, like our schedules are so flip flopped a lot of the times. That I'm like, well, I can talk about this. So I've been doing videos for the Patreon only. So guys, if you haven't seen them, check them out. They're fun to talk about. A lot of fun things there. But this is the show, Brock. This is the one where we're going to break down the leaked images from Star Wars Episode 9. Richard E. Grant is playing Nobody. That is the name of it. But before we get into anything, Andrew Fantasia sent me a text message, and I said, I changed my number 3 times. How do you keep getting my number? But he sent me a text, and I'm just going to read the text verbatim. Like, this is word for word what he sent me. But let me give you the topic I had in mind. So obviously this is a continuation of something else he was saying that I didn't read because, so you guys can discuss it Wednesday. I'm really curious about the possibilities. So far, every SW movie, Star Wars movie, has been part of a package. Whenever we eat a movie.
What?
Whenever we get a movie. Sorry, his spelling is terrible. Buy his book. Whenever we get a movie, we also get a couple of tie-in novels, a set of action figures, an art book, and a sexy DK visual dictionary, among other things. But until the announcement of this Rebels art book just now, like literally I sent him that link and he goes, oh, well, I'm going to ask you this question. The art book, we never really saw this trend with the television shows. Now, after Episode 9, most of the Star Wars stuff we'll be on Disney+. Well, it will be Disney Plus shows, The Mandalorian, Cassian Andor, etc. So my concern is, will the shows adhere to this formula? Will they be part of a fun package like the movies? Will we get the tie-in novels and the visual dictionaries? And if not, Does this lessen the experience? Brock, did you get all that?
Yeah.
Do you wanna respond?
I hate to say it, but that is a very good question from Andrew. It kills me inside.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
But that's a really good question, because it's sort of like, if we don't get art books, or I guess, like when he said art books, I know what he means. You know, the artwork of The Last Jedi, the artwork of Rogue One, which are great books. If you like to buy Star Wars books, huge suggestion that you get these things. They haven't really existed for the TV shows, though I would argue, because they're kids shows, there has been some like content out, but it's not really the same. Or I guess in the realm of like expansion novel, there's been comics pretty well with like the Rebels characters with the IDW comics. But the art book really stands out for me. That's a really good question. I could see it happening for Mandalorian and for Cassian Andor, because there's a lot more, I don't want to say this, there's more concept art being created, because they're kind of like starting from scratch. But that doesn't make sense to me when I say that, because the animation, like, all you're doing is drawing. So, but it's true, we don't really, here's a concept art for Kanan, here's Hera. Like, you don't see a ton of it. You see a ton of it on like Instagram. I don't know if you've noticed this, James, but no, that's really interesting. So he's asking, do you think we'll get more expanded stuff because of the TV shows? I got that right?
Yeah, like basically saying because, and I think this is the smart move, because they're shifting away from a feature film every year, they're going to put more focus on this Disney Plus stuff. Will we be getting this content? For me, I think I understand why Clone Wars didn't have the content. I understand it, because I think the ratings were what they were, and they were not, $1.5 billion is what they were. You know what I mean? It was smaller in comparison to everything else in Star Wars. Are they going to sell those books? And I know the diehards are all yelling at me right now, but the reality is, are they going to sell those books? And I think with Rebels, they finally are now. And Rebels is starting this trend for those where they're like, oh, there is a market for this now. But also, we are, 10 years past the start of the Clone Wars when it first came on. 10 plus years from that. Like, this is a new era of everything. So I think there's a huge market. That being said, The Mandalorian and Cassian Andor, to me, Mandalorian, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say, if this was a never tell me the odds, I would go 100% that we will see a visual dictionary for The Mandalorian, because I think The Mandalorian, even though it is a television series or a serial, which Star Wars kind of is, I think it's going to be treated more like a film, and I think those ones will be treated more, whereas Rebels and Clone Wars and Resistance are all treated, they were all television shows. And Rebels was a kid show to start, right? Resistance, I haven't really seen much of it, but what I hear is it starts off like a kid show. And I think kids don't really give a crap. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to buy those visual dictionary books. Whereas The Mandalorian is going to cater more towards you and myself, Brock, and adults who will be like, oh, let's check out this sweet, look at, whatever, who knows what we're going to get in it, right? But I think it's, Taika Waititi, did I pronounce it right? Yeah. I hope I did. He said that it's gonna feel more like the original trilogy. I don't really know what the hell that means, but seriously, like, didn't they say that about Force Awakens? Yeah. So I think it's just gonna be Tatooine. That's what I'm thinking. But like, that is what people want to see. They're gonna want to see it. So for me, I think, Andrew, don't be afraid. You're gonna get The Mandalorian. Maybe Cassian Andor, maybe not, but Mandalorian, I would say maybe not for next Christmas, but by the next celebration, you'll get a Mandalorian book.
I will say this, like, I picked up Women of the Galaxy. I don't know if I ever told you this or showed it to you. It's basically a picture book and then like a little bit of jargon.
Oh, yes.
It's every female character up until probably like mid last year, and it's characters. It's all the female characters from about mid last year. So you see characters from Rebels, you see characters from comics, you see like IDW and Marvel. What was there? There was another character in there. There was nothing for. There was Last Jedi, of course. There was nothing for Resistance because it wasn't out yet. But they are making an attempt to every facet of it, putting it in. So like, you get a whole chapter on Harry, you get a whole chapter on Sabine. So it's and then Ahsoka, of course. So it's like there is attempts to make it because they understand that like fans of all ages are very interested in this stuff. So perhaps I don't know how well that book did. So that's a good point. I'm really excited to see like because I think there'd be a lot of fun like concept art for Mandalorian like already. I mean we're seeing stuff on Instagram, but that's mostly like set photos. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. And I think for the tie-in books, I mean, if they're going to keep making all these things connected in the same universe, then how can you're going to get novels and there's going to be an interesting character, whether it is the Mandalorian character himself or somebody else on the show that we find interest. I mean, usually that's how it works, right? There's going to be somebody on the Mandalorian that we're going to say, I want to know more about that guy or girl or whatever, alien, and we'll get that, and that's just how it goes. So I think the books, as far as the books are concerned, 2,000% we're going to get those books for sure because marketing.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
By the way, I cannot wait to read. I cannot wait to read Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. Like, just release it now. Cannot wait. Try not to hang up on you while I look at other things that have come in. So, moving on, Andrew, I hope that's satisfactory for you. If not, write us a letter at rebelscumbags@gmail.com.
And then we will throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. Trash. Bleep. Bloop. That's the trash sound. Bloop. So these, you obviously saw these supposed leaked images from episode 9. Mm-hmm. I say supposed, but I feel like they're legit because they're not special. Like, the reason why I'm like this could be real is because like I said, there's nothing is like mind blowing in these, and if you don't want to, we're not going to put a picture up during this podcast because we don't want to ruin anything for anybody. And if you don't want to know what the images are, skip ahead like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
skip ahead until you see it. Never tell me the odds. How about that? Does that sound good? That sounds good. So let's go through them. I'll name all of the characters off. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, so we start off with a new alien concept art. I can't really make it out, but it looks kind of like Watto mixed with that thing from the first movie that like walks behind Ray. You remember the J.J. Abrams thing when they first were like, there's going to be puppets? That thing. It looks like a mixture of, like, it has Watto's legs with that guy's face.
Yeah.
I think. And then a new droid that will annoy BB-8. He looks like he will annoy BB-8. This one to me, Brock, I want to know your opinion is, well, right now, because I'm going to say it right now. This one is Richard E. Grant as a First Order officer. Reference photo. Here's what. So if Richard E. Grant is just playing a First Order officer, like a new Hux or something to that effect, that to me is disappointing. Not so much because of the plot or anything, but because why don't they just say Richard E. Grant is playing a First Order officer when they announce his casting? Why do they have to keep that a secret? To me, that like it's bordering too secretive.
Yeah. In
my opinion. So that is why it's disappointing to me. Even though in the movie it won't be disappointing, but just stop. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it's Richard E. Grant. He was great in Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk.
So good. D, Resistance Soldier concept art.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll be playing him in Battlefront 3 because we'll probably be getting that.
Mm-hmm.
E, Dominic Monaghan as a resistance officer. Again, if he's just a resistance, why not just come out and say he's playing a resistance officer? Whatever. A new alien. After that is a new alien. I like this guy. He looks kind of like a Mon Calamari, but like not.
It reminds me of Lando's like skiff guard costume in Return
but
of
more
Jedi.
Slimy.
Just because the quality of the picture.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yes, you are right. That's what you're right. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. You are right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next one is a young Mon Cal, so that's why it would remind me of that.
I like how he's. I don't know if that's part of the costume or that's just a color swatch in front of him. Like it looked like for like editing purposes or like color correction.
Yeah, I think that's what it's because I'd imagine they're going on film for this one. Yeah. And the next one we're going to pause and talk about in great concept and great detail is Rey wearing white.
What a concept.
Well, there's a few things that stood out. I did an Unleashed for the Patreons yesterday where I said this looks a lot like Luke's costume from A New Hope. Leia also wears white in A New Hope because with Lucas it was white was for good, black was for evil, right?
Yeah.
But in the third movie, The Return of the Jedi, Brock, I don't know if you've seen that one. No. Luke wears black, and then at the end it's revealed that he has white underneath because that's how it is. Could they be doing a bait and switch with Rey? Absolutely not. But the other one that pointed out, and I want to talk about this, and then Misconduct brought this up as well, is she looks very, very reminiscent of a certain character named Padme Amidala from Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm.
Only instead of an alien strategically ripping her belly spot open, she has a belt instead, which is highly more. But what are your thoughts on this Rey costume? This is like the first big costume reveal that we're seeing, even though it might not show much, but this is the first character that we're like, oh, that's what they're gonna look like.
Honestly, I'm not that excited. It looks like what she wore on Jakku, in my opinion. I mean, again, we can't see huge details, but like even if you could point out like 20 differences from what she wears on Jakku, it's still like she's always been wearing like white or like light blue or gray. Like it's not overly exciting to me. I like the look of it. I like that it's sort of like a pantsuit, but then also there's like a little bit of like a robe drape on the one leg. That's kind of neat. And like, yeah. I like how the belt looks. It almost looks like a gun holster. Also kind of looks like something a Jedi would wear. Like it's cool. Like I like that they keep the theme of her armbands and
yeah,
like I like that. But again, like it's, in my opinion, not overly exciting.
Well, here's a question for you though. So in Force Awakens, she's wearing white, but it's kind of like a dirty white, right. Or like a beige, right? In The Last Jedi, she's wearing gray because that's very much kind of where she is on things. And now she's full white. Do you think that actually is what they're going for, or do you think this is just a coincidence?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously, she's a stark juxtaposition if Kylo wears all black, which he probably will. As we can see in the next picture, he's wearing that looks like all black. So like obviously aesthetically those two fighting in a lightsaber battle would look really cool because she's all white and he's all black. But I don't know. Again, it doesn't get me super psyched because she still kind of doesn't feel like a Jedi. I don't know. But
well, will she ever be a Jedi?
That's a good question. Yeah. I don't hate it because it's sort of like it looks like her other stuff, and it fits, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. It's more of the same but a different color. I'm totally cool with it. Mm-hmm. The next two we got to do all at once.
Okay.
Because the first one is a hooded Kylo, and the second one is Kylo's repaired helmet. And the reason why I have to do both of them together is because in the hooded Kylo, you can see that under the hood, he is wearing his helmet, which is something we've been talking about for a long time. Yep. I can't remember if it was a question that Andrew gave us on our episode 9 questionnaire episode or not. But it looks like Kylo's back to the mask, which I think is 100% the right choice in terms of marketing. Again, the visuals with him and Rey fighting will look amazing with the mask. Adam Driver is he's nominated for Best Actor. I'm pretty sure he can put a mask on and hide his face for a little while. So what do you make of all of this? First of all, he looks badass in the caped. But what do you make of him getting his mask, repairing his mask, and putting it all together?
Oh, I'm all for it. It kind of looks like it got repaired in Wakanda. All the red just needs to be purple, and it looks like he's like the Black Panther. But no, I fully agree. The return to the mask, I think, is kind of vital because hopefully we'll get sort of a better closing on why he wants to be the next Darth Vader. In the costume, though, it kind of... it doesn't look too different, but I can't even think. It looks more like in Force Awakens, it was kind of, his getup was the same to an extent, but like more ragged. I don't remember. Did he had a full cloak in that one? Correct? Is it only in?
I don't think so.
Because it's very like Sith Lord-esque with the hood and the cloak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it also
he had a hood. Yeah, he had a hood though, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
it was more like ragged. Like, here's my cool Tibetan scarf. I just came from the hipster bar.
Exactly.
This looks more like an Imperial officer. It looks more like a tunic with like a sort of big belt sort of thing across. I like the look of it. Again, I think I've said once before, it'd be nice, like, obviously keep him in dark colors, but it'd be kind of neat if they incorporated maybe a little bit of white to be more like military-esque, sort of like, I am a new level of, you know, First Order officer, even though like the getup isn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, it'd be kind of neat if it would be a couple different colors, more regal or something, but I like it. It's cool.
Anyway, I'm glad the mask is back.
Yeah.
I understood the mask decision in Last Jedi, and it never bothered me in Last Jedi. But I think Kylo's mask has become, you know, a little bit less. It's not a Vader's mask, but it's iconic in a lot of ways. And like I said, I think last week's episode or a week before, that Halloween right before Force Awakens, every boy was Kylo Ren that I saw. Like a good 85% of the kids that I saw, like little boys, were Kylo Ren. And the mask is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And the mask looks amazing, and the toys look way better with the mask. No offense to Adam Driver, but it's such a cool concept.
Yeah.
Like, the mask it was such a great design that I am glad that it's back. As long as it makes sense in the movie, I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, me too.
All right, next, the bromance continues. Brock, your boy.
Malibu Poe Dameron.
But I love that. I love that it's called Adventure Poe. That's what he's listed at as, Adventure Poe.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got a scarf and a
bandolier.
I like it. Yeah. I guess holster. Does he steal that? I like this look for Poe. I've heard the rumor that him and Finn and Chewie go on an adventure together, which is what personally I think they should have been together in The Last Jedi, because I think they're great together. And in fact, the plot of The Force Awakens also thinks that they're great together. So what do you make of Poe and his potential plot with Finn?
I like it. Kind of looks like he's Indiana Poe.
Yes.
The gloves look cool. Like, it's a manageable costume, I think. I think it's gonna, if this is what he wears through most of the film, it's gonna be very popular in Comic-Cons and cosplay, because it's just it's very like sort of steampunk kind of look to it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's you know, it's always nice to see him wearing like pilot gear, because you're like, oh, he's gonna go fly an X-wing around. But this is cool. It looks like it's gonna be a fun adventure. But yeah, it looks like Tomb Raider almost.
It does. I hope that he's on the ground more than in the air in this one. Sorry to disappoint you, Brock. Going with L. The next one is a new alien mask, and this is my favorite. This is actually my favorite of the new-looking aliens. I like this guy.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Thorian, like Hammerhead from the first movie.
Yeah.
The way it looks like he's got kind of like a trunk, but then like the wrinkles in the front, like nose, it kind of looks like a smiley face too. So it's kind of, where is the mouth?
Yeah, my fear out of all of this is, once again, are we just getting new aliens and no ones that we're aware of?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it'd be nice to throw in a Rancor maybe. The next one is also a new alien. Sure. I guess. I'm sure this is just a background alien.
Yeah.
Watch this one be a main character. So that's a horned pilot. I'm not sure who he's a pilot for. I'm not sure who. Yeah. Whatever. Then there's a new alien, obviously a Knights of Ren. What do you think of the Slender Man in the Star Wars? That's what that.
Yeah, it looks like something I saw in a comic book recently, but I can't think of what. Something from Batman or something. It looks interesting. It's hard to make a judgment call because it's so blurry that you really can't tell what it's supposed to be. It almost looks like he's got like a flak jacket or like bulletproof vest.
That's Doctor Who. That's the guy that plays Doctor Who. But that's the guy, right? That Doctor Who is that guy.
Okay, cool.
I'm calling it right now. I'm gonna call that right now. I'm totally wrong. Next one on the docket, my favorite one, Lando wearing his Solo a Star Wars story gear.
Yeah, like
I like it.
You gotta give it up. That's genius. Even if he wears it for 5 minutes, you're like,
yeah. Well done. That's how you tie it all together. Then after this, you have the people that created Snoke. I don't know what they are, but I'm hoping that they are something awesome.
Like maybe
they're probably just they're at a bar. They're just like patrons at a bar.
Yeah, I'm like looking at it when I see, because it's kind of black face, but like matte black. So I'm like, oh, is that before? Is that what it looks like on set? But like they'll animate the faces on. And then maybe the alien we saw before with in L with the weird face, maybe like they're almost the same kind of face shapes. Maybe those are the mask that goes over top of that alien. I don't know. Or, and this is just something I just thought up now, maybe these are an original Knights of Ren.
Oh,
and like the Knights of Ren has been some kind of like Illuminati unknown group, and it's through the years has been different versions, and now Kylo and a group of other whoever the Knights of Ren are took the mantle prior to Force Awakens. Also, I like how they're different colors, so they are like Power Rangers, so I know which one's which.
I can't wait to get these toys. And finally, we have an alien from the movie The Explorers.
No, it's the caterpillar from Labyrinth.
I was thinking, Labyrinth was actually the first thing that came to mind, but then I won't. Yeah, it totally is. So those are the supposed leaked images from Episode 9. Believe them if you want. Don't if you don't want. We're gonna find out in 8 months from now.
Yep. I'm
gonna book that day off of work, Brock, so we can hang out, go to Toronto, check out the pavilion that I'm sure they'll have, and go see it on a big screen theater, and just enjoy life in Star Wars land. It's gonna be look. I still think this movie's gonna make 1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first trailer is gonna be. I think the first trailer. I don't know if it will be, but it has the potential to be the greatest. With the exception of maybe Revenge of the Sith, the potential wise, to be the greatest trailer of any Star Wars movie we've ever had, because of what it is. And I think even the next trilogy that the Game of Thrones guys are doing, that first trailer does. I don't think it could touch this one. I think this one is as big as Force Awakens was, as big as Phantom Menace was. This one has the potential to really be massive and exciting, and I think we talked about it last week with the title. There's so much going on with the title of this movie. Like, this is the end. That's what's exciting about it. This is the end of. I mean, look, they'll probably go back and give us more Skywalkers later on, but for now, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. This is 40 years in the making. How does it end? And especially after The Last Jedi, where you're like, still don't know where this trilogy's going. Now it's like, how is this going to wrap up? What was the game plan? What is the end goal for this saga? 8 months to go, 10 months to go, whatever months to go. 10 months, actually. It's only February. Anyway, that's where I am on that. Anything else you want to say to those?
No. It's fun. I was like, when I saw that there was something out, I was hesitant to look at it, but it's so blurry and so basic that like anything could change, Like,
sorry, I was gonna say, as much as there are leaks, there's nothing's given away.
Yeah. I mean, they leaked a picture of those sea cows in Last Jedi that Luke milks, and it didn't look anything what they actually turned out to be. when we looked at it, it was like just an amorphous blob, and then it's like, oh no, it was this thing. And like we just said about concept art, this could easily be concept art that never gets used or gets modified. So whatevs.
Or they're in the back of a cantina. And to your point that you said like 2 years ago, you're pretty sure Disney knows what's getting leaked and how it's getting leaked. And they're aware of all of that. All right. Ready for some odds?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to start heavy on Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you in part by Side Scroller.
Side Scroller. Why buy it?
Buy your copy. Buy your copy today on Amazon. If you're in Toronto for Toronto Comic Con, Andrew Fantasia will be at a table for that. And he'll also be at a bookstore in Brampton, Ontario, I think the week before Comic Con. So if you're in Toronto, check it out. This is how the book starts. 1 million and more bright lights. Did I read this last week? Anyway, that's Side Scroller. Okay, it starts off with "Call me Ishmael" because it is the best of times and it is the
worst of times. 402 years ago.
It was a dark and stormy novel. The first odd, Brock, we're going to start heavy. The odds of Chewie dying within the first 5 minutes of episode 9.
How dare you?
The odds of Chewbacca. The odds of Chewbacca.
Dare you? 0%.
The odds of Chewbacca going down with the Millennium Falcon in a fiery
I'd rather the Falcon crash and burn than Chewie be taken away from us. That's right.
I can see that. There's a rumor, I talked about this on the Unleashed yesterday, about Lando's character, how he kind of gets the Falcon back. I'm totally on board with that. Don't kill Chewie. There's no reason to kill Chewie.
Yeah.
So don't kill Chewie.
Yeah, don't do it.
0% also.
Don't.
Also a 0%. Our next odd, if I can open it up. Did I hang up on you?
Nope.
Great. Our next odd is brought to us by Den Allen.
Den Allen.
He beat Andrew after Duel of the Fates. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's thrilling. He asks, what are the odds that Hux will have a prominent role to play in Kylo Ren's demise?
Ooh. I am going to go 75%. I think they are bound to knock heads. I think Hux will... We already know in the extended universe of the books that Hux will do anything to get ahead. So, yeah. Or, I don't know. It's hard to say. He seemed pretty, like, shook by Kylo Ren near the end. But, though, like, I would love to see them go toe-to-toe and be sort of, like, one of the things that Kylo has to deal with as well as the Resistance, so...
I'm going what I'm wearing. I'm going full Brock. Oh, I dropped you. Okay. I'm going full Brock. I'm going full Brock on this one because that's a great question. Look, Hux is the character that there's a possibility that we won't even see him in the trailer. And there's a possibility we'll see him a lot in the trailer, but there's also the possibility that he will not be present in any of the trailers. I don't think he was for The Last Jedi. So we might not know what his role is at all. He might not even be in the movie.
Oh, how dare you?
Well, I mean, look, he probably is, but let's be honest. There's a chance he'll be like, Hux is gone. Like he could easily be written out of this movie, which would be probably a mistake, but maybe not. Who knows? So he could also be killed off in the first 5 minutes. He could last to the very, very end and pull a callus on us. So I got to go full Brock on that one. Next, Brock, the odds of the title frickin' coming out by the end of February.
I'm going to go by the end of February. I'm going to go 80% because, and I'll maybe allude to it more in the news, but I think Disney has announced a lot of things. So maybe not trailers, but definitely announcement of Star Wars, the title, by the end of the month. I think 80%, but they've pretty much announced all their up and coming projects that will be coming out prior to the Star Wars. So if they're doing things in order, I think that's the odds of it.
I'm gonna go. Oh, gosh, is it a cheat to go full Brock twice?
Yeah, there's no rules to this podcast.
Okay, full Brock. I gotta go full Brock because I don't like for me, if I were them, I would just be like, screw it, all of it at Celebration. What's the rush? The movie's coming out in December. It's gonna crush that trailer. Make the trailer as good as you can. Make it as engaging as you can. And then oh, I gotta bring this up. Shout out to Scotty Hawk, our good friend Scotty Hawk. Let's see if I can find Scotty Hawk. Here we go, Scotty Hawk. Okay. Shout out to Scotty Hawk. He commented on something earlier. I can't remember who it was called. Blue Milk. I think it was Blue Milk. A Blue Milk Latte. That's the Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
They're a blog, I believe. If you guys know them, I'm sorry, I just found out about them. I feel bad because they seem really cool. But they had a theory, and this is the sweetest ass theory for episode 9 title that I've heard. Okay, ready? Star Wars Episode 9 title theory. If you take into consideration the Mortis theory that Luke is father, Rey is daughter, and Ben Kylo is son, then father has already moved on, and the ultimate battle between daughter and son is left for 9. And in the prequel, and then he says, add in the prequel trilogy nostalgia, and voila, I present you the Episode 9 title, Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. Would you watch that movie?
Duel of the Fates.
It's not I love the title, but it's not a finite and a title. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem, you go, that's the last one. But I think it's a pretty sweet title.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like
if that's what it's about.
Yeah. I mean,
again, I don't know what it's about.
I'm just trying to think of comparisons. It's like Attack of the Clones isn't that great either, but it is what happened. Well, not really. Kind of reveals the end. But referring to Clone Wars, so yeah, I think like Duel of the Fates is too on the nose, but I don't hate it. Like it definitely works. So that's awesome. Yeah, I like the idea, and especially referencing like how they are like children of the Force, and they are going to go toe to toe, and that's gonna really decide a lot of things. But yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Seal of approval.
Look, well, that's all that matters. Is J.J. Abrams is watching us right now? Like, well, there it is. We got it. Have you seen the articles that the story group doesn't know the title of Episode 9, and Pablo Hidalgo was like, I don't know why I talk anymore. It's a year away. Of course I don't know. He's like, I know. I don't even care. He's like, it's like, give me a break. It's kind of ridiculous. And so I read somewhere like only JJ knows the title. Great. Like it's Episode 9, whatever it ends up being called. I'm pretty sure we're all gonna be like, did you see Star Wars? That's just a conversation that we're gonna have. Yeah. It's exciting. Like Star Wars titles, there is something about them that's exciting to hear the reveal of them. I think ever since the Phantom Menace, because you're like, what the hell is the Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are. I'm looking forward to it. Whatever the title is, I'm going to be fine with it. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. For me, the best title of Star Wars doesn't matter. Let's go on to the news.
The news. Hello, news. Are you ready to hear me talk? This is kind of non-Star Wars related, but it has everything to do with Star Wars. HBO has announced that their upcoming show, Confederate, will be delayed because it is being put together by Benioff and DB Weiss from Game of Thrones, because they're a little busy with the Star Wars galaxy. So it was announced they were doing like a Civil War TV show. So I'm sure that's going to be really, really cool because these guys know how to make a battle. So I imagine Battle of the Bastards, but in like Civil War era. That'd be sweet. But yeah, they won't be able to work on that show until they finish the Star Wars show or Star Wars movie, as we know now. Really, they're really pushing that story that it will be a trilogy. So that's very interesting to me because it's sort of like there are going to be movies. Like that's going to take a large amount of time. Of course, they could write all of them all at the same time, shoot them all at the same time. I don't know what. I mean, I don't think they direct and shoot every episode, but obviously they're like Game of Thrones, so they'll write the Star Wars and put it in production and then go write Confederate. So they are going to be very busy men for the next few years, but it's kind of cool to be like, oh, they can't do HBO right now. They're making Star Wars. So I thought that was a cool little story there. This one kind of relates to what we were talking about, the Star Wars trailer. This is sort of a theory that Jake Kleinman at Inverse kind of put together. I wanted to make sure he got full credit of this because I basically just ripped off his entire article. But apparently, I don't know if it happened today or yesterday, the Frozen 2 trailer came out. Did you see it, James?
It came out today. I watched it, but I was only half paying attention. It seemed good, though.
Yeah.
I like Olaf. Olaf wasn't in enough for me.
Oh, okay. So he's using this trailer as a theory on when we'll get the trailer of episode 9. So Frozen 2 is supposed to come out in November, so a month or so prior to when episode 9 comes out. Therefore, if we're getting a trailer now and they're supposed to be a month apart, that perhaps we'll get something in the next month. By like sometime in March we'll get a trailer. Which would make sense because the marketing kind of works together. And when it comes out in March, say around, he says March 8, also tends to happen around when Captain Marvel comes out, right? Yeah, Captain Marvel hits theaters. So that's another place where they can start showing the trailer. Of course, and I'm sure you're already thinking this, James, the one thing that could throw that all off is that they're waiting for a Celebration. So I thought that was a really interesting theory. It's not really news. It's not based on anything. You're just like, well, if Frozen's the project that comes out before episode 9, perhaps we'll get a trailer soon. So look out for that. Let's see if he's right. I don't know, but it would be cool to be at Celebration and seeing it for the first time. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe that's when we'll get the title. I don't know. And finally,
can I just cut you off for a second? Remember Rogue One? When Rogue One came out, Celebration was in Europe. It was I think it was in England, right? And everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna get a trailer," and no trailer dropped. And it was just like some kind of like weird reel, and
yes,
everybody was kind of disappointed. I mean, everybody there was like, "This is amazing," but then outside you're like, "Well, that's kind of disappointing." And then when you came over and we tried to watch it, but you couldn't watch it online because they blocked it out, which is I thought it was the right move for that. What I was thinking is Rogue One ended up being a great movie and they reshot it all, so they couldn't show it. What are the possibilities that maybe this algorithm is correct and we get the trailer March 8th or whatever it is, and Star Wars Celebration comes and they show a sizzle reel instead?
Ooh, I wouldn't hate it, because as much as a sizzle reel is in the trailer, it's still information from the movie. They're like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that.
And the Rogue One sizzle reel was pretty sweet.
Yeah, so if they make the same thing, which if we haven't seen anything about the movie, anything is good, right? So even if we do get a trailer prior to that to get more footage, like it's a win-win situation in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sorry about that.
And the final story, it's all comic book related. James, I know I've talked to you about this before, but they've been doing a return to the prequels sort of event in Marvel Comics. They just did Phantom Menace stories, just like one-off comics. You know, there was a Qui-Gon, there was a Darth Maul. They are now in the Attack of the Clones era sort of stuff, and they just put out something called the Star Wars Age of Republic special, and it had a collection of stories, one notably being about Jar Jar Binks with a squadron of clones, and he wields a lightsaber. What happens is they're being led by a Jedi named Lan Teek. He's a general. He gets shot. He dies, and they're surrounded. The clones. Rex is leading the clones, but then he does a sort of crazy move, suicide mission, where he runs into the thing, and he's about to be shot down by some droids, and And Jar Jar comes out of nowhere with a lightsaber and slays all the things. So that's really cool. That's sort of closest thing we'll get to a Darth Jar Jar. I don't know, but I haven't tracked it down, but when I do, I'll let you see it, James, obviously. But if you want to see Jar Jar Binks with a lightsaber, go to your comic book store and look for Star Wars, where is it? Age of Republic special. Right now they just put out Anakin, I believe Padme comes out, and forget what the other ones were, but yeah, check them out. I've been reading them. They're very good. They're just one-offs. They're just fun. So, and then also in May of this year, they will be putting out a one-shot issue of Star Wars number 108, which is not exactly where the Star Wars series is. They're at like issue 60 or 70 or something like that. This is I keep saying episode. This is issue 108, which is the next issue of the last issue when Marvel originally had Star Wars. So the last issue of the Star Wars comic in the 70s, 80s ended at 107. So this will be a continuation of that. We will see a return of that era of Luke and Han and Chewie, but we will also see the return of Jackson, Amaza Foxtrain, Domina Tag, and Valence the Hunter. So that's very exciting. I know you're a big Jackson fan, James, so I couldn't I couldn't resist not talking this. So that's a really cool idea. It'll just be a one shot. It'll just be somehow a continuation of 107. I've never read any of them, so I don't know what the story is at. But yeah, that'll be very cool. It'll be modern print, so it'll be kind of like, ooh. So we'll see what happens with that. And this has been your Hollow News.
Hollow News.
Hollow
News. I like that they're having fun with Star Wars finally. You know, like they're just like, you know what? Let's just have a good time with this.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to our friend Dwen today about because Ninja Turtles and Batman are having an animated movie coming out. Like that's freaking awesome. And we're just saying, like, Ninja Turtles just doesn't care. They're like, whatever. We'll reboot ourselves 3,000 times and no one's gonna care. And we'll go with zany comedy or super serious. And people might complain for a minute, but at the end of the day, we're gonna come back.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Star Wars can't do that and shouldn't do that. I'm not saying that, but I'm glad there are little things like this that they can take advantage of and have fun with.
Yeah.
All right, let's do our top five. Our 116th top five.
Wow.
And this one is the laziest one we've ever had. Our top 5 images from these supposed leak images. Once again, if you don't want to know anything about the images, thanks for watching. You were always scum. If you're totally down with hearing more about it, then Brock, are you ready for your top 5?
I am ready.
What is your top 5?
My top 5, my number 5 is the Power Ranger aliens, because that's what I'm gonna call them. It just looks cool. I like the different colors. Like, maybe they're important, maybe they're nothing, maybe they're just background characters, but it's cool. I like it.
My number 5 is a droid that's gonna annoy BB-8 because I like the way he looks. You know what? I'm actually really, really curious to see how the mechanics of this droid work in the behind the scenes stuff. I don't really care about him in the movie, but in the behind the scenes, I want to see how he works. And is he only in one scene? Are you C2B5? Are you even in the movie? We don't know. Number 4.
My number 4 will be that first alien that kind of looked, like you said, kind of looks like Watto. Now that I look at him, he kind of looks like a young Rio Durant. So that's our connection with Han Solo. So that'll be my number 4.
My number 4 is new alien.
New alien.
The one that might have a snout. It's L. If you look at it, it's L. That might have a snout, might have a smiley face. We don't know what it is. I like that guy. I like him. I'll go with number 3.
Okay.
3, 2. Lando.
Oh, really? I thought that'd be higher.
No.
No.
Lando.
Lando. My number 3 is going to be Malibu Stacy Poe Dameron, because he's like, look at me, I have a new turtleneck. So that's fun.
My number 2 is a cross. I can't decide between Slender Man or Ray. Because the thing with Ray is, yeah, I know what you were saying about Ray, but I also feel like this could symbolize her being a giant badass. So Slender Man or Ray, eeny, meeny. I'm gonna go Ray because I don't. Slender Man might not even be in there. He might. I think though it is Matt Smith is his name, right?
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Matt Smith. I think that's who he is.
Okay.
And he is a Knights of Ren, and that is a Knights of Ren. But I'm gonna go with Ray for argument's sake.
Okay, my number 2 is gonna be Young Mon Calamari, because I'm hoping it's gonna be Akbar Jr. That'd be sweet.
That would be amazing. My number 1 is Kylo Ren, hooded Kylo Ren, his new mask and everything. I'm glad he's back to it. I love Kylo's my favorite character of the sequel trilogy. I know that's, I mean, is he though? Yeah, he is. Is that really a surprise? Is that exciting? No, it's not. It's very obvious, but I just like the way it looks, and that's 90% of what Star Wars is about. Ask Boba Fett. It's about how they look. And you're number 1, Brock. Take us home.
I'm gonna have to go number 1, Kylo Ren as well. Like, it's just, that looks pretty sweet. I was gonna go Lando, but like, honorable mention Lando Calrissian. I feel like this is a bait and switch. I feel like they're like, hey, let's just put him in a yellow shirt. And it doesn't have that same style that Billy D. Williams gives off in his character. He's just sort of standing there. But if he wore it, I'd be like, ooh, baby. But yeah, especially if he's given the Millennium Falcon and he dresses up like that. It's like, remember me, L3? That'd be cool.
Oh, see, they could really bring this puppy home, and I hope they do. But that is our top 5, our 116th top 5 for this, the 116th episode of the Rebel Scum podcast. Brock and James we're nowhere near each other anymore, which is sad and depressing on a whole other level. But anyway, that was fun.
It's always fun when we talk about Star Wars.
We got to do it more. That's what we have to do. We have to do it more.
Okay.
All right, Brock, thanks so much for joining us. Guys, thanks so much for watching down below. Join our Patreon if you want. Like I said, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff when I'm free. Brock, you're going to join me on some stuff on Patreon that you don't know about yet. But we're going to have a lot of fun over there just doing videos and stuff like that.
Cool.
All right. But, Brock, you haven't been on it yet because you were always Scum.
Concept art leaked, Scum.
Awesome.
I can't wait for you to see all my...
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.